Out there in the land of YouTube, it's Annette Dion. I'm checking in on this cloudy, somewhat rainy Thursday. Just trying to adjust things here. Just to see how we all are doing. Oh, behind me. I was walking this morning. I'm just noticing this is showing. And somebody was throwing out this cute little wreath. So I picked it up. What do they say? One man's junk is another man's treasure. Anyway, that's what that is. How you doing? Well, there's 5 of us now. So I walk daily. I make an attempt to always walk daily, and so I decided to beat the raindrops today. And I like to come up here, and I'm at Hammond Castle Museum, and I thought it was appropriate. It's a medieval castle built by an inventor named John Hammond. I've talked about him at length. People are going in to take a tour. And I taught a tarot class here too. So I have a long relationship with this, the spirit of John Hammond and this museum. So as I was coming by this morning, I thought I'm going to come back and get that wreath that I saw in my walk that somebody was throwing out. And maybe come back and do a live stream from the castle. And then the more I thought about it, the more I thought this is appropriate. It's really appropriate because John Hammond built this castle for his wife. He was actually gay, but he, in those days they had to like pretend they weren't, and which still goes on. And he was a famous inventor. And what John Hammond was famous for inventing was remote control, and there's a story of John Hammond that he was quite a prankster. I love the energy at the castle. It's very, very much like that. He was eccentric, and he was quite a prankster. And what he would do is he would have a boat offshore here, and he would use his new invention, his remote control, and freaked the community out because it looked like the boat was steering itself, and they called him this a boat, like a ghost boat, because they couldn't figure out how the boat was traveling on its own. And so he was really into radio, and he had like over 800 patents, a really brilliant man. He used to sleep all day and work at night in this medieval castle, which is pretty spooky. I've taken you in there before. Quite haunted. And his spirit's there, and I've always connected with his spirit. But the other thing about John Hayes Hammond was that he lived during World War I and World War II, and I've been pretty intrigued by that time period. Like 100 years later, here we find ourselves, and we're repeating a lot of what was going on there. So he did have something to do with, the electronics and the radio communications during that time, and during the wars too, during World War I. Just directly or indirectly, a little bit of both, I think. And there is a mural in the castle with a depiction of a battle on the oceans. And I think it's a depiction of World War I. So anyway, there's a little bit of history here. And the reason I'm connecting with that is because as we speak, there are our allies, there are international intelligences as we speak that are going after the attacks on the underwater cables that connect countries to one another and connect to all kinds of things. There's a lot of cables under the ground, and the Russian army has been, or the Russian Navy, the military has been going and cutting the cables. And what the evil wants is to cut us off from one another. Do you detect a theme here? What the evil needs for human beings to do is cut themselves off from one another. It's NATO, but it's also more than NATO. It's not just the NATO countries, but that's the bulk of it. And I think last night when I was talking about Joe Biden, I pulled some cards. Yesterday was his birthday. I pulled some cards. How's Joe Biden doing? And the Eight of Swords that came up just was speaking to me and saying he really wants people to know, but he can't reveal what's going on. So all of this is top secret. All of this involves sharing intelligence, and it involves, like, like what I was talking about with John Hammond, the inventor that invented, radio and remote. A lot of it involves being able to communicate with one another, which is what Putin is attempting to cut off. It's the world forces are coming together, and it kind of started with, when Biden came in, saying, no way are we getting out of NATO. No freaking way. He probably used a cuss word. And this is why, because if we don't unite as a global community, then we're doomed. I mean, we really need to be communicating with one another in order to survive as a human civilization. So that's where we are. And I think that, it gives me reassurance knowing that intelligence agencies around the world are in the know about this very complicated international crime ring that has been building. There are layers and layers of it. It's been building for a very long time. And we're in, really, it's the, classic battle between evil forces and the forces for good. I've been praying intently for the safety of our intelligence agencies around the world. Intensely. And I want to encourage everybody to do that. Whenever you can, wherever you can, just really pray and intend intensely that these intelligence agencies, that they're safe, that they're getting the information that they need, that they're sharing the information that's essential for our safety on planet Earth. Just a little housekeeping. If you hit the thumbs up, that really helps me. Really, just as far as YouTube goes, I'm pretty done with the shadow banning. But I guess I won't get into it, but I can understand why I'm being blocked. I guess I could take it as a badge of honor. So if you hit this thumbs up, and if you share, if you feel like these messages will be helpful, that would be great. So pray really hard. If prayer is something that you do, intend, visualize, if that's something that you feel more comfortable with in prayer. As far as God is concerned, you can consider it the universe, the intelligence that created us, whatever. We have seen a lot of miracles through the ages. We have seen a lot of things turn around that just, the darkest moment is before the dawn kind of thing. The election November 5th, Putin meddled in. It's known. It's not like a stretch. We should be talking about it. The American populace should be talking about it. The media has been absolutely complicit. I heard something this morning on a video. I think it was a Midas Touch video. A domestic terrorist expert, I didn't catch his name, but I've seen it before, was talking about these neo-Nazis that were trudging through the streets of Ohio. I think it was Columbus. Oh, thank you for the compliment. I think it was Columbus, Ohio. It might have been yesterday. They were marching through the streets of Columbus, Ohio. In their like stupid masks and with their swastikas and threatening people that are Jewish, the anti-Semitism galore. And by the way, when I tune into these groups, it's like they are weak men. They are total. They have no freaking personal constitution. It's disgusting. There's really no words. It's more than disgusting. And so, just speaking of the media, then they showed a little clip of Dana Bash. I don't even know. Was she CNN? I think so. That's how detached I am from mainstream media now. So speaking about these neo-Nazis marching through the streets in Ohio to totally intimidate people, a bunch of freaking losers. And Dana Bash literally says on her news show to somebody she's talking to about these neo-Nazis, oh, well, do you think they're from the left or the right? Which side do you think they're on? Are you effing kidding me? I just want to, metaphorically speaking, smack these people. Are you with me? Have you ever heard of a Democrat, liberal marching through the street with swastikas and chanting anti-Jewish stupid whatever sayings? It is disgusting. It was disgusting. I mean, enough already. And I do want to speak also to the really surprising, unanimous message that I feel like we are all getting psychically to not watch mainstream media, because I'm really stunned at how many people have they're just revolted by it. We've gone from maybe tolerating it, and then maybe watching mainstream media a little bit less, a little bit less, a little bit less, and then all of a sudden, right around the election time, people were telling me all the time in the chat, especially, I can't watch it. Almost like there's a force that's keeping us. I really do believe this. Almost like there's a divine force that's keeping us, like we're forbidden to go there from looking at mainstream media's lies. We're all psychic. I just happen to be in this profession, but we are all psychic. I mean, I practiced. I've always been pulled into that kind of, training myself. We all have different purposes, right? But we're all psychic. And we're being sent a message: do not support that in the collective consciousness. Because remember, I keep telling you that to imagine the outcome, I keep saying it over and over till you probably get tired of it. Do not use your precious thought energy to imagine things that you do not want to happen. And what that means is, do not use your precious creative thinking to think in great detail about what you don't want and what you're most afraid of. And I think the universe is sending us all a message to the entire collective. Everyone I've talked to, at least, cannot watch mainstream media. We are being guided not to watch good Christmas movies. I've been doing that somewhat. Pretty sappy, but pretty cheesy, but it's definitely better. I've also been playing a lot of music. I can't wait till my piano gets tuned. It's going to be on Tuesday. Just merge yourself in your art form, but do not ignore that we need to be rising up in huge numbers. And we do have a meeting tonight. I'll be live streaming at 7 p.m. Tonight Eastern, and we'll spend a half an hour talking about grassroots of democracy and our tasks moving forward. So don't watch mainstream media. I'm giving you messages that I received this morning to pass on to you from my guides. Don't watch mainstream media. Get your news from sources like Midas Touch, Brian Tyler Cohen. But I would also recommend to be very selective about what you watch on those pro-democracy channels. Not because they're not truthful, not at all that. More that you want to make sure that you spend your mental energy not going to fear, but going to what we're creating. I did see on Rosie's channel that certain people have alerted me to her channel where she's talking to her friend Corinne, I think it is, about what they're remote viewing. I call it remote viewing. It feels to me like they're remote viewing. My psychic ability has been amped up a bit to where I'm seeing movies too about what's going on. It happens through the years when you practice something for a long time. You get additional talents, right? And they're seeing what I'm seeing, and I've been talking to Kathy Beale. We've been calling each other. We've been calling each other and talking about what we're picking up on and the astrology behind it and all that. So there's that. Fill your mind with thoughts of this international horrific crime ring to be busted. And I think the Danish Navy did, I mean, that was on Rosie's channel, but if you look for this information, you'll find it. You know, they're making headway. I feel that Putin is extremely nervous. I actually feel like Putin is having anxiety attacks, and I'm having images of that, and also then it brings to mind that Hitler at the end, you know, it got so bad that he committed suicide with his mistress. I think it's so fascinating that we're back here 100 years later almost. So as far as the international community, and as far as this election, we were attacked by the Kremlin. We were attacked in the election. And I keep reminding people, the Kremlin kept telling us they were going to attack us. They kept telling us they were going to. The Kremlin never said, oh, we'll leave you alone, America. The Kremlin was bragging about it. And I've been kind of calling out people that are, you know, Substackers and podcasters and you know, people just in their comment section. They're ignoring the elephant in the room for some reason. And I can maybe, you know, do a reading on that. Like, why are people that were really and are still in the pro-democracy movement and working really hard for Kamala and everything, that have organizations, why are they just only talking about, oh, well, you know, people didn't vote for Kamala because of blah, 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 blah? Because that's not what happened here. What happened is that Russia meddled. Putin meddled. So I've been putting in the comment section, in my humble opinion, we're ignoring the elephant in the room. Maybe they're afraid. I don't know. I don't think this is all that courageous just to send messages out, but maybe that's because YouTube is shadow banning me and I don't have as many people. Less people, less risk, I guess. But, you know, we're still a democracy. Hello, everybody. We're still a democracy. And I mentioned last night that when Putin invaded Ukraine, that there were journalists, there were some really great independent, you know, Russian radio that they had to be shut down. But we're not shut down, okay? We're not shut down. We are not shut down. It's being threatened that we'll be shut down, absolutely. But right now, on November 21st, when the sun goes into Sagittarius today, into my sign, right? No, that's I'm a Sag. Right now, we're a democracy. We're a democracy, and we can say whatever we want. Anita's saying her oracle card just 15 minutes ago is miracles. Second time in a week. I've been talking about miracles. We've had miracles. The fact that Joe Biden got in office in 2020 was a freaking miracle. And I have another thing to speak to, and I'm not going to make this too terribly long, and I do want to know how you're all doing too, because this is a kind of a mental health check-in. I keep on asking my guides what to do about the MAGAs. You know, there's still people flying their Trump flags. There's a house here. Now mind you, I'm in a sapphire blue state. There's a house that I walk by often, and it has a huge Trump sign way, way, way up high. And I really, yeah, Biden is pushing through the judges, Maryland. It's wonderful. I really have been asking what to do with the energy that kind of evokes from us. The anger, the how could you, the resentment, and this is really, really important, so hear me. The dark side plants these seeds of like people that are they don't know they're acting as agents of the darkness. They've been most of them have been grossly misled. When you see someone still flying their Trump flag, when you see the Trump Vance bumper stickers, when you see Trump Vance lawn signs all over the place, when you see Make America Great Again, they're trying to own the libs. They're still trying to own the libs. Believe me, that's going to be short-lived. The owning the libs thing is going to be short-lived as reality smacks MAGA in the face of all that hatred and vitriol that they've been, emitting is going to, what goes around comes around, right? Anyway, as far as what it evokes from you, the demonic needs you to be at the vibration of hatred back. The demonic needs you to be enraged. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it doesn't make me seethe with rage. I'm human. It makes me seethe with rage that Marjorie Trader Greene and Nancy Mace, like I could say some cuss words about them right now. I'm not denying that rage. What they're doing to that transgender woman that was elected by her constituents to be in that seat. What they're doing is heinous. So, and last night I brought it up. So we're showing you paintings from like medieval times of famous painters. I'm not an art history, buff, but they're pretty famous paintings of hell. And I just, to make you feel better, I was like, this is where they're going. When you feel that vitriolic, resentful hatred at the just, I've never borne witness to such horrible, cruel people in my life, and they're in our government. They're in our taxpayer dollars pay for this. Makes you not want to pay your taxes, doesn't it? If you can't forgive them, for they know not what they do. That's a big stretch. I understand that. Of course it's a big stretch. And the Christian story of Jesus saying that after they crucified him and he's just about to go, it's just like, that's too big. Maybe Jesus can do it, because, I think that we can go to neutral. I think, and I pray about it. Please help me to know what to do with these angry, hateful feelings back, because I hate that people are treating each other with such cruelty seem to be getting away with it. My guides just say go to neutral. Sing my little song that I made up, my little chant that we do every single week at Church of Spirituality. You can find that right here on my YouTube channel. And I'll make you go watch it. So I'm not going to sing it to you here. But we have a little forgiveness chant at the beginning part of it. It's work, it's practice. It's a little bit of training. But if you just recognize that it's kind of like dangling, the bait in front of you, right? The dark side is trying to trap you, because the more it can get us all to be really having vitriolic hatred back, then that builds the negative and the dark vibration. Does that make sense? So it's a little bit of work. It's a little bit of training. You're welcome. I'm glad to be here. It's a little bit of work. It's a little bit of training. I mean, I get really, I can't even tell you the levels of aggravation that I get about YouTube. Just making my numbers, making my videos not visible. It's intentional. I feel that. Let me know if I'm having bad Wi-Fi connections, because it's not the greatest here. There's a lot of granite. Yeah, somebody's saying something about the psychics on YouTube. Anyway, with just these few minutes that we have left, if anybody's struggling with negative emotions, we're here to help. And I'm not going anywhere. You know me. I keep just showing up. I'm going in and out of focus, but no buffering. Yeah, if I go in the castle and try to live stream anything, it's really impossible. So I'm actually surprised that I have any connection at all to Wi-Fi where I'm sitting. But we'll end in a minute. I just want to know if anybody is struggling, if we can help you in any way. I hope that helped. Music makes a big difference. Tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, I'll come on for a live stream and we will talk about the next steps. Please call all of your representatives and say you demand an investigation. Oh, thanks. Yeah, hope my dad's okay. He's in his last days, but we're still kind of waiting. He got moved to rehab, but I think he's just going to go back to hospice from there. So, and thank you. You know, one thing I want to say about that, just in terms of family members, you know, getting ready to make their transition, make sure if you have somebody like that in your life that you have no regrets. No, the ghost from the castle is not messing with Wi-Fi. It's just, I'm in an area that there's so much granite. It's just really hard. Because just as far as, you know, just making peace with people, you know, as far as my dad goes, he's still with us. I'm thinking maybe he's pulling a Jimmy Carter. You think he's going to go and he's still around. I'm grateful that he's still here. But I really made an effort. I made an effort with my dad to take walks, to, you know, make sure that I was always there, take him to the grocery store and that kind of. So I don't really have any feelings like, oh, I should have spent more time. So if there's a loved one that you know is at the end, make sure you, you know, reach out. And reach out to one another. Rose is saying granite helps to channel the spirits. Yes, I grew up on this island. The last place I lived was actually Granite Street, about 8 miles from here. And yeah, growing up right on the ocean and with all this granite, there's a lot of really powerful energy in this area that I live, and I grew up with it, and I was always quite cognizant of it. There's ley lines coming through this area, so I'm bringing you that energy, and I hope that it helps you. I think that it does. Okay, so much love to you too. Glad that I was able to live stream, bringing in the spirit of John Hammond, who invented remote. I'm just kind of asking John Hammond's spirit to help the intelligence agencies working under the ocean, some of them, a lot of them. And shutting down the evil that's trying to destroy human civilization. And we need to destroy Elon's work. More on that later. See you this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We'll do a half an hour. We'll just talk about what the next steps are for saving our democracy from the threat of a fascist takeover. All right, I love you guys. Please share my videos too. That might help the numbers. Okay. And subscribe, hit the thumbs up, book a reading at psychicannetteDion.com. Oh, thank you, Odelia. My dad was blessed to have me. You're all a blessing too. Okay, we'll see you soon. Namaste. Have a great day. Keep your chin up.